Yesterday I finished the first exercises, which were crazy. I feel like it threw me into the deep end with that one. But anyways, so we're going to move on to section 2.3, which is measuring and drawing angles. It is a good idea to estimate the size of an angle before you try to measure it, as this will prevent you from giving answers which are not sensible. For this purpose, it is really only necessary to decide whether an angle is less than 90, between 90 and 180, between 180 and 270, or greater than 270. With practice, you will probably be able to estimate an angle to within about 20 degrees. To estimate the size of the angle in figure 2.9, notice that it is less than 90 degrees. It is also more than half a right angle, 45 degrees, but nearer to 45 than 90. A reasonable estimate is therefore 50 or 60 degrees. The reflex angle at O in figure 2.10 is between 270 and 360. It is easier to estimate the size of the acute angle and then to subtract it from 360. The acute angle at O is about a quarter of a right angle, about 20 or 30 degrees. So an estimate for the reflex angle at O is 330 or 340 degrees. To measure or draw an angle accurately, you use a protractor. The outer scale goes clockwise from 0 to 180, and the inner scale goes anti-clockwise from 0 to 180. To measure the angle ABC in figure 2.11, place the baseline of the protractor on the line BC with the center of the protractor over the vertex B. Read from the scale, which has its 0 on BC. That is the outer scale. The size of angle ABC is 45 degrees. I don't have a protractor. I hope I don't need it for the next section. Always estimate the angle first. So if you mistakenly use the inner scale and give 135 degrees as your measurement, you should see that it is not sensible, as angle ABC is acute. Exercise 2.2. Here we go. Estimate the size of each of the angles and then measure them. I don't have a protractor. Trace the angles and extend the lines so that you can use your protractor to measure the angles as accurately as possible. Oh no, I don't have a protractor. I'm just gonna, I guess, just do the estimates and hope for the best. So exercise 2.2. 1. Estimate the size of the angles. Okay. So this would be, so A would be about 30 something, 30, I think. No, so this would be a right angle. So it's like 45 almost. So I'll say like 45. B, this would be 90, and this would be 180, and it's in between. So what's between 45 and 180? Sorry, 90 plus 45 would be 105. So I'm going to estimate it to be 105. So this would be 180. This would be 270. Oh, right. We're supposed to use the little one. We're supposed to estimate what that would be and then minus it. So that would be like 45 again. So we just had this one, right? So what's 360 minus 45? That's the question. I should get my calculator. So that would be 15, 315. Because that would be, yeah, 315. So I'm going to guess them at 315. B would be just over 90. So I'm going to guess like 99. I'm gonna get all. Okay. And then E is what? So let's guesstimate that one. That'd be, or just be just over 180, right? So I'm gonna go with like 200. Draw angles with each of the following sizes. And because I do not have a protractor, I'm just gonna, again, guesstimate. So a 73 angle would be, this is 90. Okay, so let's do it this way. Okay, and then these are 45. So this is 0 or 360. This is 45, right? This is 90. This is 105. 180. Oh my God, 135. I screwed up this one up here then. One of these. Anyway. B. 135. So 180 plus 45 is what? That'd be 5, that'd be 12, 225. And then that was 275 we said, right? No. 270. Just 270. Yes, that's 270. Then plus 45 would be 270 plus 45. I'm doing a little math on my scrap paper here. Would be 315. So let's just do estimates here. So I would say it would be like very close to the middle. So that's it's 73 degrees. 246 would be about here. 109 would be like about here. 281 would be about here, I think. And 172 would be right here. B. I wonder if they drew it in here, the angles. $50 degrees. I mean, it was close. I said 45. 132. I had 135, which is very close. 315. Oh, I got it exactly. 111. I got 99, which is very close. 231. Oof, I was off by a lot on that one, which would, because I had 200. It's supposed to be 231. And then obviously they can't draw that. They didn't draw the angles. So, okay. 2.4. Using angle facts. You should be able to measure and draw angles to within 1 or 2 degrees. Note, however, that many of the diagrams in the rest of this chapter are not drawn accurately, but they are still helpful, even when you find solutions by carrying out a calculation. This section deals with situations which use angle facts, most of which you met in section 2.2. There are 90 degrees in a right angle. In figure 212, XYZ equals 90. Yes. So A plus 71 equals 90. Right, so A plus 71 equals 90. Giving A 90 degrees minus 71, so 19. So two angles whose sum is 90 are complementary. Okay, let's write that down. This is using angle facts. Using angle So two angles whose sum is 90 degrees are called complementary angles. The angle made on a straight line is 180. Yes, if there are two or more angles on a straight line, then their sum must also be 80. This fact is usually stated as angles on a straight line add up to 180. In figure 2.13, PQ is a straight line. So C and 78 add up to 180. Thus, C equals 180 degrees minus 78 degrees, which is 102 degrees. Two angles which add up to 180 are called supplementary. Two angles which add up to 180 are called supplementary angles. 90 degrees is complementary, 180 degrees is supplementary. There are 360 in a complete turn. The angles in figure 2.14, when added together, make a complete turn. They are called angles at a point. So the angles at a point add up to 360 degrees. So here we go. So therefore, 117 degrees, 122 degrees, and E add up to 360. So therefore, 117 plus 122 is 239. So E equals 360 minus 239, which is 121. So angles at a point equals 360 degrees. Oh, when two strokes, drop my pencils here. When two straight lines cross, as figures 2.15, four angles at A, B, C, and D are formed. Since A added to B makes 180 and C added to B also make 180, it follows that A equals C. Similarly, B equals D. Okay. These angles A and C are called vertically opposite, and angles B and D are also vertically opposite. The argument is that previous paragraph shows that vertically opposite angles are equal. Vertically opposite angles are equal. So let's draw that out. So these would have to be the same, and these would have to be the same. So A, B, C, and D. So A equals C, and B equals D. And they're called, A and C and B and D are called vertically opposite. And vertically opposite angles are equal. Okay. You can think of a pair of scissors as the angle between the handles increases, so does the angle between the blades. Yeah. Exercise 2.3. Okay. Find the sides of each angle marked with a letter. Where they occur, A, B, and C, D are straight lines. Where they occur, A, B, and C, D are straight lines. Okay. So it's asking me, so this is 1A. So it would be 90 minus 23, right? Equals A. Yeah. So 90 minus 23 is 67? That was 67. Yeah. Yeah, 67. So A equals 67 degrees. B, it would be 32 plus 35. So 90 minus 32 minus 35 equals B. So B equals what? 35 minus 32 is 3. No? Yes. So 90 minus 3 is... That doesn't make any sense. Yes, it does, right? $90. There we go. Oh my God. Okay, so 32 plus 35 is 65. So it's minus 65. That makes more sense. So 90 minus 65 is 65 plus what equals 90? 25? So B equals 25. C. So A and B, that's a 180. So C equals 180 minus 69. So C equals, what is that? 80 minus 69 would be 61 plus 69 plus what equals 80? 11? So C equals 11. That doesn't make any sense. $111. That makes sense though. Okay. D. $59. So D equals 180 minus 59 plus 63. So D would equal 60 plus 60 is 120, right? And then I can do this. Minus 1 plus 3. 122. 180 minus 122 is 180 minus 122. So D equals 80 minus 22 is minus 22 is, doing a little scrap paper here, 7, that's 10, that's 8, it's 58. So 158. E, I'm going to circle it so I remember these are the answers here. E, oh, this is the 361. Boo. So E equals 360 minus 72 plus 136. So E equals 360 minus, what's 136? Plus 72 is 8, 10, 208. And so 360 minus 208 is 60 minus 8 is 52, 152. So E equals 152. F. F equals, I don't like that so F equals 360 minus 75 plus 64 plus 149, right? So 149 plus 64 plus 75 is 9 plus 9 is 18. 10 plus 8 is 18 again, 288. So F equals 360 minus 288, which would be 360 minus 288. 1, 5, 10, 2, 15 minus 8 is 7 and 72. F equals 72. G has to be 63 degrees because they are vertically opposite. Vertically opposite. All right, H. H equals 68. H equals 68. Oh, sorry. H equals 360 minus 68 plus 90, right? Because this is a right angle here. So what is 68 plus 90? That is 8. That is 15. 158. So 360 minus 158 is 202. So H equals 202. I equals 360 minus 51 minus plus 51 plus I squared. No, okay. How do I figure this out? Because this is 51 as well. We know that, 51 degrees. But we don't know what this one is, and we don't know what this one is. Oh, my brain is almost like, I feel my brain is like, oh, you do this, do this. But do what? That is the question. So how do we figure out what this is? It's going to be the same as this, right? Okay, I almost had it there. So I squared equals 360 minus 51 plus 51. So I squared equals, what is that? 51 plus 51 is 102. So 360 minus 102 is 60 minus 2 is 58. 258. So I squared equals 258. Not I squared, I plus I. So I plus I equals, so what's I plus I equals 258. So would you do 258 divided by 2? I think so, right? So be I equals 258 divided by 2 is 1 What's 58 divided by 2? 58 divided by 2 is 2 goes into 5 twice, which is 4, which is 1, bring down, so 129. I equals 129. Ooh, maybe. Number 2. In the diagram is the square angle OAD a straight line? Is it a straight line? Let's see. So it would be a straight line if 37 plus 97 plus 45 equals, it has to equal 180. If it doesn't equal 180, then it's not a straight line. So what is that? What is 37 plus 97? I should just write that out this way. So 37 plus 97 plus 45. So that has to equal 180. So it's 14 plus 5 is 19. And then 10 plus 7 is 17. So no. No, it is not a straight line because they do not add up to 180 degrees. Okay, let's check our answers then, because that was it. So let's check the answers. Exercise 2.3, 67, yes. 23. Okay. My math wrong there, obviously. 111, yes. 58, yes. 152, yes. I said 158, but we'll just pretend I didn't. 72, where am I? 72, yes. 63, yes. 202, yes. 129, yes. Okay. 129 and 151, yes. Uh, 179, yes, because they do not add up to 180. All right. Next page, parallel lines. Should I keep going? How long have I been doing this now? Let's check the time here. 28 minutes. My brain is not hurting as much as it was yesterday. I'm trying to figure out those circles, like clock questions. So let's just keep going. 2.5, parallel lines. Parallel line. Oh wait, let's try to review. What are two angles that add up to 90 called again? I think they're called complementary. The angles that two angles that add up to a straight line is supplementary. And then I can't remember what the circle is called. Angles at a vertical point? Angles at a point. Angles at a point are the angles that add up to 360. And then opposite angles are equal and they are called vertically opposite. Perfecto. All right, so parallel lines. Let's get this closer so you can read along too. The word parallel, derived from the Greek, means alongside one another. Straight lines are parallel if they are always the same distance apart. So we are parallel learning right now. Parallel lines never meet, no matter how far they extend. Straight railway lines, for example, are parallel. In diagrams, arrows are often used to show that lines are parallel. See figures 2.16. A straight line which crosses two or more parallel lines is called transversal. Figure 2.17 shows a transversal. I need to write this down or I'm not going to remember. So parallel lines are lines, and then parallel lines go, but then the one that goes across is called transversal. So these are parallel. right? I'll keep on doing parallel. And then this line here is called the transversal. Transversal. Okay. In figures 2.18, a transversal cuts a pair of parallel lines. The pair of shaded angles are called corresponding angles and are equal to each other. This is very similar to that vertically opposite, right? So let's try this again. So you got the two parallel lines, and then you have a transversal line going through. And so these angles here are called corresponding angles. Corresponding angles. They are always, and they are equal to each other. And they are always equal to each other. Spotlight. You will see from figure 2.19 that the corresponding angles form an F shape. Looking for such a shape may help you find pairs of corresponding angles. Right, because they form like an F shape. Okay, I got it. Other pairs of corresponding angles have been shaded in figure 2.20, 220, yes. In figure 212, 221 and 223, a transversal angle cuts a pair of parallel lines. The pair of shaded angles are alternate angles and are equal to each other. So the ones that, so let's try this again. So then let's do parallel lines again, and they're getting cut. So these are parallel lines. And then, so these ones are called alternate angles, and they are equal to each other. The characteristic Z shape in figures 2.22 can help you spot alternate angles. That's true. So it's going boom, boom, boom. See? Boom, boom, boom. In figure 2.24, the angles marked A and B are equal because they are corresponding, right? And the angles marked B and C are equal because they are vertically opposite. So sorry, A and B are equal because they are corresponding, right? And then C and B are equal because they are vertically opposite. So the alternate angles A and C are equal. That's very logical. Example 2.5.1. Find with reasons the sizes of the angles marked A and B. The angles A and 20 are opposite, vertically opposite, so they're equal. And then A and B are called corresponding angles, so therefore they are also equal. So B equals 120. All right. Sorry, the sun is shining right in my eye. I'm going to close this blind. Perfect. Okay. So 2.1, exercises 2.1, sorry, 2.4. So exercise 2.4. 1. Write down the letter of the angle which is I, corresponding to the shaded angle. II alternate to the shaded angle. Write down the letter of the angle which is I, which I corresponds to. Oh, I get it. Write down the letter of the angle which is 1, corresponding to the shaded angle, and 2, alternate to the shaded angle. can't remember what alternate angles. So A and, okay, so what is corresponding angle? Corresponding angle is the same angle, right? That forms an F. So A and D are corresponding angles. This is 1A. And then alternate angle would be the opposite. So A is a Z pattern, so A and B. A and B are alternate angles. I'm just going to double check that I'm doing this right because it feels weird. 2.4. Yes. I is D, B. Yes. Okay. I got it. But let's just keep doing that. So B D is like and B. All right. So, because I read this wrong. I was read that as A, but we're not. So so the corresponding angle is the angle that shows the F pattern. So it would be F is the corresponding, right? And then the Z pattern would be the H. So C. So K would be the corresponding angle. I'm writing this all out every time so that I remember it. And then ZI would be the alternate angle. Alternate angle. Oh, there's no D. Okay. So number 2. Find the size of each of the marked angles. So A. So A angle, right, would be 57 degrees. B angle would be 57. And then C angle would be 180 minus 57, which would be C equals, what's 180? 180 minus 57, which would be 123. So C angle would be 123. Okay, I'm just gonna double check that one. Yes, 57, 57, 123. I do understand. This is so much easier than that circle question yesterday. Okay, that's 1A. So 1B would be 1B would be what? Would these be the same? Or would these be the same? I think these would be the same. So D is 98. Or this is why I'm so confused. So this would be, yeah, D would be 98. Because D would be this corresponding angle. And then, so D would be 98. And then E would be 180 minus 98, which would be 180 minus 98. It would be 2, and then 17 minus 9 is 82. So, yeah, okay, C. What in the world is this? How would you even figure this out? Anyway, okay. I mean, so we need angle F, and we need angle G, and we need angle H. So let's do one at a time. So we're, in theory, these lines are like this, right? And this line is actually like this. So if this is 74, that means this is 74. And I'm assuming this means this is 78, right? So this is 78. Is that what it's saying? So does that mean that has to be 78? Does F have to, is F 74? Because they are complementary. I know. Okay, I have to think through this. Let's do one at a time. So I'm going to pretend like this is not here. This is confusing me. So does that mean H has to be 74? I think H is 74. H is 74. Okay. Because they are corresponding. No. They are vertically opposite. So H is 74. I got that much. Okay. So I have H down. H is 74. So I'm going to put that there. So G would be, so this is supposed to be 180. So what's F? We got to figure out what F is. F would be the Z shape, right? So F would be 78 because they are alternate angles. So then G would be 180 minus 74 plus 78, right? That sounds about right. So 74 plus 78 is 12, 152. So 180 minus 152 is what? That would be 228. So G equals 28 degrees. Is that right? F is 78, yes, 28, 74. My brain is working itself here. D. So, okay. Why is there two I's? Is that an I or is that a J? I think it's supposed to be a J. So we have I, J, we have an I angle, a J, a K, and an L angle. Here. Okay, so if we do, so these are the parallel lines here. So these, I gotta pretend like they keep going through. It's the only way that it makes sense to me. And this keeps going through. And this keeps going through this way. And then these aren't related to each other. Okay. So if this, so these are two parallel lines and they're going through. So 66 and I would be the same because they would be corresponding angles. So I is 66. J would be 180 minus 66. Right? Which is what? 14. 114. Okay, then K well, L has to be 115 because they're opposite angles. And then K would have to be, aren't these corresponding angles? So the K would have to be 115. I don't trust any of my answers. B, I equals 66. Yes, 114, 115, 115. E, just have to be more confident that I know what I'm talking about because I definitely am not. So there's, okay, then M, N, and P angles. Okay. Just go like this. I'm gonna go like this, and I'm gonna go like this. Make it easier for myself. Okay. So M equals 59. 59 degrees because it is the alternate angle to this one here. N would be what? 41 because it's the alternate angle to that one. I think. And then P would be 360 minus 59 plus 41, right? 360 minus 59 plus 41, which would be 59 plus 41 is 100. So 360 minus 2 is 260. P equals 260. And then F. All right, so I'm just gonna, okay, so here we go. So Q, angle Q equals 180 minus 52 plus 63, which would be what? 52 plus 63 is 5, and then 11, 115. So 180 minus 115 is 65. Okay, and then so R would be 65 because it is the corresponding angle. Okay, is that it? Oh, thank God. Okay. So we're on 2.4. D is 66, 114, 115, 115. Yes. 59, 41, 260. Yes. And then 65 and 65. Boom. Okay. So this is the last section of chapter 2. I don't know if I can do it or not. My brain is really fried. And I've been doing this for an hour. So I'm just gonna stop. Thank you for joining.